disconnection and helplessness. Two big words. They can be kind of provocative, but we hold these in our bodies in different ways. Helplessness with regard to spiritual practice would be, I can't do it on my own. And that started, and that's unconscious. You may be aware of it in the sense that you can't do work or inquiry or meditate or be, on your own and rest or allow. But that started a long time ago. Understanding that we're talking about emotional repression. You've never been able to trust yourself. You had to bury some stuff. That's where the suffering is coming from. So the moment that you look at KI and you watch these videos and you say, yes, this is for me, I'm excited. You have to remember that you're carrying in the door to this work the conditioning that says, above all else, in every relationship, I want to stay safe and get love and approval. So if you come in and you just try to learn the skills without understanding that your operating system demands sabotage at the unconscious level, truly, then it's not going to work. And your system will get exactly what it wants. Another sabotage. It's not your fault. You're unconscious to it. But now that you hear about it, you have some responsibility, right? Because if you're totally unconscious to it, you would just come in here and try to learn the skills and then fail and get pissed or whatever. But now that you're aware of it, what you do next is important. Because if you go back to the same pattern of, well, I can't do it on my own, so I'm going to reach out to somebody. And when I reach out to them, if you do, you're not going to talk about this pattern necessarily, or they're not going to be skillful enough to help you get to it. And they're just going to try to give you more skills or tools or do it for you again. Not good. Not when this pattern is driving the whole thing. It doesn't matter what modality that you're working with. It's the pattern that drives it. So remember, you might not feel it as helplessness, but when it comes to spiritual practice, you see the evidence of it is that you're interested in the work or something, and then you get here and your system sabotages it, but you don't really know why. You just can't do it. That's a pattern that you're going to need special help with, in my view. I'm inviting you to work with me, but I just can't give you my email or my personal number or anything. I want to, but boundaries. So what I'm saying is go to Kiloby.com, at least start with the test. It's at the bottom of the page. Scroll all the way down. It's free. Start there. We're going to send you some resources around this. But whatever you do, don't do nothing once you hear this, if this is your pattern. And again, the pattern shows up. You might not be conscious of it, but it's a very powerful pattern in the unconscious, which says, I can't do it on my own. It is emotional repression. It's about not being able to trust yourself, and that your system wants it that way. It keeps you safe and gets you love. You get to hold that emotion back. You've been operating like that your whole life. When you come here, that's still driving it. We're doing inquiry on that repression. See that? So that repression conditioning is going to fire back with its conditioning that says, no, I can't do it on my own. Okay, and then the other pattern to be aware of, because I'm inviting these two groups of people to come and work with me or listen to me, like come to the members area so I can help you with this, or especially let me mentor you. With a caveat, though, I come back to that because both patterns are sabotaging patterns. So if I mentor you, we have to be clear with each other from the beginning in a way that probably nobody you've ever worked with has been clear with you about what's really going on here. From the beginning, it's not going to be about skills only. What I'm interested in and what I'm doing with people is helping them see the two markers and feel the freedom themselves by trusting themselves. But we'll have to do some things together to talk a little bit first. Let me work with you. The important thing is if you see something, say something. In other words, if you see the pattern, if you can't do it on your own, and you keep reaching out to teachers, facilitators, coaches, and they are not you're not learning how to do it on your own, and you're still not trusting yourself. You're not waking up to what you are, and you're not embodying that, or you're not healing. There could be this codependent pattern that wants it that way and just may not be aware of it. It wants it that way for safety and love. Imagine that you're doing this in the world and you don't know that you do not want freedom, and that everything you're doing is simply to prove the conditioning of stay safe and get love and survive. Not knowing that is there's no words for that, because the frustration and the suffering that can come from that. And then the other pattern is disconnection. Whereas helplessness is feeling like I can't do it on my own, I'm helpless and I need somebody else. The disconnection is I must do it on my own. I don't trust anyone else. That's Scott Killaby right there. Up until I met Dan McClintock, that's Scott Killaby. Because basically, I was bullied by my best friends. I don't trust anybody. By the time I get to non-duality, it was not, I don't trust people. So I did it myself, and it helped. But when you do it yourself, it's still trauma. So there were blind spots and bypasses that I've talked to you about that I didn't catch because I didn't let anybody see me until I met Dan. And then, for 2 years, he facilitated me. He saw me, my blind spots, and then that helped me open up to my repression. It was meeting Dan McClintock and opening up to him that changed everything for me, because I was a disconnector. Like so many of you out there who want to come and pick up the work and do it yourself, and then you have blind spots. So there's this balance we get to, which is, yes, we want to trust ourselves. It's all about trusting self, waking up to what I am, allowing it all. It's my experience. I'm the authority on it. You're the authority on your experience. But how we get there, I think, it's a balance. And then in that, we're all going to get to this balance in practice, which is that I'm mainly just doing work on my own. This is my experience. But I might work with somebody here or there, get some mentorship, or like what I did with Dan. He helped me. Because we're not an island onto ourselves. And that really does act out separation when you believe you must do it on your own and you can't trust others. There are big blind spots with both of these patterns, is why I'm coming out and saying this. And there are people in the members area who are aware of this now and working on this. But there are people out here in the public who they haven't started yet, or you guys are just starting and you're carrying these patterns in. And if nobody's saying it to you, there's a sabotage coming. And to keep it simple and focused on this work, because it's all repression, if you think about it this way, as an anger repressor, not trusting people, it was the anger repression that made me disconnect and only trust myself. It's the same thing that got me away from groups as an empath. I got to be by myself, or one-on-one, more by myself. Disconnection coming from anger repression. Couldn't trust myself to feel and express what's true for me in relationships. So disconnect, bury the anger, come to spiritual practice, do it myself, keep the anger buried. See that? Blind spot. Big one. Or I'm somebody with sadness repression, for example, and I have this strong sense of feeling unlovable, and I need someone there to witness me. I have hurt repression, let's say. I just need someone I can't do it on my own. Deep down in my body, there's a strong sense that I can't, and I don't. And then I come here and I start working with somebody, and I really like them, and I'm getting love and approval from them too, and I'm staying safe, and they're doing it for me, and they're witnessing me, and that feels good. But then I don't ever learn the work on my own because my conditioning won't let me. It demands that I can't do it on my own. It would be so threatening to do it on my own, because then I can't get love and approval, and I can't stay safe. And this is all unconscious, of course. This is not stories. These are not really stories. You might be aware of some of it. Of course, it might come up from time to time, but treat it as unconscious. Assume that what I'm saying is true, and then just go see if it's there. And if it's not, you're fine. But if it's there, okay, so what do we do if it's there? The two patterns: helplessness or disconnection. What I'm saying is you don't want to do what you've always done. So if you're someone with sadness repression who keeps clinging to someone to help them and it fails every time because you can't do it on your own, you can't trust yourself, you don't want to just go to someone again without illuminating this pattern and dealing with it directly. You don't want to go just learn another modality or a teacher or something and then ignore this, right? Because the same thing will keep happening. So don't do what you've always done. Break that pattern right now by either taking some steps to learn, work on your own, or work with somebody who will help you do that. And trust yourself, even if it takes a while. You'll be better off, way better off. And if you're one of those people who you must do it on your own, you can't trust other people, don't continue doing that same thing. So take some steps, do some inquiry on your own if you have to, like I did with Dan, reach out to somebody. Let somebody mentor you or see you or facilitate you. Somebody who's skilled, who can help you. Because your blind spots can get you in the end, and it can be really big too. It was diseases for me. Because remember, this is connected to repression, and repression is what creates the suffering. So this inability to do it on my own would be directly connected to my diseases and chronic pain. All that is safer than, of course, feeling, expressing the buried stuff. This is why the pattern continues. Can't do it on my own, and the suffering continues. But the same is true for somebody who must do it on their own. They just keep doing it on their own. If they get here, same pattern, driving the same habits, same blind spots, same bypass. It's just a new modality. But a really great modality or teaching or teacher will not penetrate through conditioning that is remaining unconscious the whole time that you're at the modality or the teaching. Think about it. It has to be made conscious. Do something different. Well, I almost don't want to even start you on the path. I want you to think about this and even whether this is the right path for you. And if you know it is, though, and if you haven't started, go to Killaby.com, scroll to the bottom of the page, and take the free repression test. But I think what I really want to do is go beyond the test. I always say that about the test. I almost want to give people some better direction or more. But I don't know exactly what's best for you because I haven't met you yet. I'll say this. Anyone who is serious about breaking these patterns, come talk to me. It's free. It's a clarity call. It's like 15 minutes. I think it's free. It may be a small charge. I actually don't even know. But it's worth it just to come talk to me. If I'm the only one talking about this directly, I can at least refer you to someone or suggest something. So to get a clarity call, you email support@Killaby.com. Thank you.